All right, official start. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for joining the 2026 Not at a AWP NAWP open mic reading. While I'm at it, I'll throw the reading list into the chat one more time. So, if you are joining just to hear some amazing readers, you're in the right place. If you're joining to hear amazing readers and read something amazing yourself, you're also in the right place. Looking at the numbers, 2 to 3 minutes per person will be a good sweet spot. So poets, probably just a couple of poems, depending on length, more if they're short, fewer if it's a long one. For our prose folks, a couple of pages, I guess, depends on how much dialogue you got in there and how quickly it moves, right? We've all done readings before, so around 3-ish minutes should be a good length. Thank you very much for hanging in there as I got us kind of off to a slow start. I probably should have said this because my screen just says NOP. I am Mitch Nobis. NOP was co-founded by me and Jared Beloff, and Jared sends his regards. Um, Never been to AW yet, ditto. Jared sends his regards. He couldn't be here tonight. He was originally hosting, and I was going to be the late one, and then life changes, and here we are. All right. So again, about 3-ish minutes per person. Reading order is in the chat, and we're really just going to jump in. So pretend you are at a bookstore or bar, whatever kind of offsite reading you would prefer to attend if you were in Baltimore right now, and we will get to it. So your order is kind of random. I think it's just the order they were submitted online. So Dusty R.W. Levy is going to lead us off tonight. So, Dusty, feel free to unmute yourself and have at it.
Good evening. Um, so we just, as I mentioned in the chat, we just had a power outage. So I'm going to hang on as long as I can. I'm reading by the light of my phone hooked up to my hotspot. So thank you for your patience. My name is Dusty R.W. Levy. I live in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I have 3 poems for you tonight. First winter at the 30th parallel. I've missed the darkness of this season, the darkness of my mid-40s, which obscured other darknesses. It used to cut my chin in its witchy, attentive hands. The dark cut as it comforted, and I welcomed it all. 8 a.m. sunrises and 4:30 sunsets, the non-driving and the coffee all day, involuntary naps at my desk, dissociation by the laptop light. Here, even the cloudiest days are blindingly bright. Who could long for this punishing sun? There is no room for longing. Oh, I long for longing. Um, thank you. These next two have just come out of workshop, and I have not revised them yet. Um, this is for Sarah. Let's write letters, you and me. Decades of apologies hidden within the greetings, analog playlists of solemn pop songs, hard news from home swaddled within the well-loved margins. Forgive me, Sarah. I find loving hard. I've found and abandoned you so many times, and always, always, you reappear as though time were false, as if decades of hurts between us were the soft substance of our platonic love affair. Every silent year a meditation, every breath a word, every argument a poem. Life was sometimes a dream. Thank you. Life was sometimes a dream. Pastel Juno and Jupiter marrying in the mossy cup oaks, tea with jackalopes, you in a satin gown swooping in on a hippogriff, aiming to save me from the prophecies of my own mind. But in the mottled moonlight, you were all rattling bones and teeth, your cactus gums dry as dust. The world's heavy tonight, you coarsely whispered, falsely intimating you've ever carried anything. Now I stretch my limbs out in the sand. It's night. The tick, tick, tick from my wristwatch reverberates through the unfurled sky the way only analog sound can, with grace and color, disturbing the stars. How's a poetic way to say, I don't hate you, and it's not for lack of effort? My dreams of destruction seem too harsh to be true. Then time threatens to soften you in my memory. I refuse that too. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Excited.
Thank you for reading, Dusty. That was amazing. And thank you for finding a way through the power outage. There's poets will find a way, right? Oh, my screen just exploded with hearts. Whoever figured that out, that was cool. Nice work. All right, next up, we have Haley Campbell, and I will grab Haley's links and drop them in the chat. So, Haley, you are up.
Hey folks, I'm so happy to be here. I've been sort of vaguely aware of NAWP for a while, and was just delighted that this time I could make it work, especially because I am a mom now, which I was not the last time that NAWP happened. So I feel very, very included in that whole like it's life. I just have two pieces for you today. I have an old love poem and a new love poem. So the first one is called A Spell Against Disaster for One's Beloved. Understand first that the spell will not protect you. Violence is everywhere, so kiss him religiously. Don't allow him to leave your bed or your home without I love you, the quick spark of your lips pressed close. Tell yourself each small gesture is a shield, a ritual, mundane and deliberate. Most important, never tell him why you insist, why you reach for him so often, or the charm will dissipate, all your nightmares bleeding awake, one of you whole, the other embraced by fire and broken steel or bowed low by disease. Understand, a wound is not the horror that you brace yourselves against. Instead, it is a life without the love that spells you into joy with every steadfast heartbeat. And then this is a new love poem that is very new and I wrote very recently. It's called Love Poem After the Baby Turns 2. This is where the romance goes, sucking the meat and fat off the chicken bone bent over the sink at 10 p.m., knowing you're sent because showers take too long, except when we're together to save water and time and they're not long enough. Letting the dog watch because otherwise she'll howl and paw at the closed door and there's only 40 minutes of nap time left. All my extra flesh, more room for messes, for your hands, for all the new places I ache. Never being sure what direction the disaster's coming from, only that it is coming, only that we can heft it stiff and grunting with animal determination. All of this, it cleaves us to one another, same instinct, same tenderness, same strength. Thanks, y'all.
Haley, those were fantastic. Parenthood is not a requirement for not participation by any stretch. Frankly, not being at AWP isn't even a requirement. Like we've had people get tired of all the hubbub and join this from their hotel room in the past.
I
So
think last year we
everyone's
had a
welcome.
couple. Yeah.
Right, here. All right, next up we have Albin Fisher. Albin, I think I saw you in the screen here. You out there?
I'm here.
All right, there we go. Take it away.
All right. I have four short poems from an ongoing work called Human Arsenal. And forgive me, I haven't read in forever, so I'm a bit rusty. 21. The moral voice comes unbidden out of nowhere, wholly formed and newly ancient. It erupts from us while we're in line at the bank, browsing the supermarket, mowing the lawn, stentorian, dictatorial, possessing utmost authority, commanding new tasks and customs. It stuffs us full of itself. We cannot retort, interject, question. Only the new tongue will floor us. It comes to disappear us. Our conversations, interactions are not our own. We're there behind the eyes, terrified and terrifying, desperate and grasping at our truths as they rise from us like vapor. But the voice fires its fusillade of directives, our directives. and we find we adhere without fail, not knowing how or why. Perhaps it's the astute tone, its alien confidence that lulls us. It seems prudent to act upon its brute edicts, its elegant logic, and act we do. It tells us stories that we may live them as fungible data, that we may at last extirpate the public from the body, that we may finally float free, ascend in all our diverse brilliance, an asteroid field of grace averted. 4. Although we live on the bottommost level here, we know there is another level below us, undisclosed, unseeable, accessible to no one. We sense them down there, murmuring inaudibly, going about their lives as we do up here, forgetting them most days, but knowing in our bones they're there, making their plans in dirty hell, breaking the last available vein of daylight. Their gang mentality unnodding the dark. We're ratcheted towards them, winch-like, as they rise in our minds. A dimming overtakes us, betrayed by the upward cant of the eye toward enlightenment, itself the locus of the downward gaze, in which the sheer of the dream is total. The dimming is the expression of the dream dilating to its utmost. In it, our individuation is complete. It gets all over everything. We're rendered savior, onlooker, misadventurer, as we're rested, weary, and anemic from the superdeep, gazed upon with astonishment at our ability to sleep through such blows. "15. The hallucinations get worse. We try, but can't nerf their system protocols. Sender, oh sender, open reification settings, we troll uselessly. A mental check of our phase indicators reveals we're stuck on auto grind. Desperate, we mash cancel, mash terminate. Find this only further immonetizes Simcade. The dream's item level squish. Its skronk maxing dissonances instantiate splash damage. Squeeze, don't pull. Crit pilled, the feed gives pure snap to, pure cinema. Scrubbing parallax. We're bodied. Sensoria mogged in, and chuggy with homeostasis. Shrapnel on blast. The statues among us prop their contrapostal clutch. As glizzy-hued Modeltrons sweat their gospel piss gold. With the headset on, all is dominion, rupture, uptake. Daylight spray and pray of derealization, juiced imperial. We aim straight at the fountain and press vaporize. And here's the last one, 22. How soft your fields so green can whisper tales of gore. Immigrant song. The lyrical tracks us through squalid forests, choked thickets, over desiccated meadows, down close defiles. We sense its iron hand everywhere above us. But running frantic, pouring sweat, we appear, hung with a veneer of composure. It's only when accosted by others and they look into our face that the horror is revealed. We are being pursued by the lyrical. It traces us like a song we know by heart, unchanging, an earworm dug to our deepest core, a crooked finger describing trench-like our ragged trajectory. The lyrical embalms us in its image, our features contorted in a paroxysm of reverie. The image signifies but is not viewable. It accumulates within us. In this way, the lyrical flattens entire cities, each of us made at once edifice and ruin. Its surfaces dazzle, buckling perception, a diegetic flare that erupts the sense, devours the air. A new figment humid with contingency. In this one, we don't rise. Thank you.
Albin, those were amazing. You said these are for a project in process, and I really hope
Yeah.
you're seeking publication for this. Like the language, like, I want to dwell on those. Like, I want to be able to see it as I'm hearing it. And very cool stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of halfway through. I do have a chapbook that's a selection from this larger project coming out from Graying Ghost, but still working on the books. So.
Aren't we all? All right, thank you, Alvin. Next up, let me get back to my sheet here. Lai, you're up. Lai Felk is up next. Lai, take it away.
Hi. Thanks for hosting this. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome to be here with all of you. So I'm going to be reading from Six Sad Queer, which came out through Malarkey this month, just a couple days ago, actually. The first one is called After My Doctor Tells Me My Labs Are Normal. Studies have shown that you should not be feeling this way. Studies do not show a correlation between the symptoms and the disease. Studies encourage you to weep, but only to yourself. Studies are always correct. Studies occupy the same position in time as an alarm clock. Studies have been conducted entirely in space that also say that you should not be feeling this way. Studies indicate that pain is not weakness leaving the body, but rather getting comfortable in it. Studies suggest that pain is all in the mind. Studies have not found a cure. Further studies have been canceled. Thank you. And the second one I'm going to read is called Self-Portrait as So Much Hunger, after Chin Chin. Dreaming one day of being as empty as space, smooth as a river rock, scraped clean of the bumpy flesh my mother shamed me for, trying to be smaller, to fit inside the narrow spaces, afraid to take up too much room lest the boys not like me. Never mind if I could look at myself in the dressing room mirror. The topography of my generous body is a thing to be eradicated and slimmed down, pared down to the bone to the essence of girlhood, which never quite fit me anyway. Eschewed my curves and collected hungers instead. I'm not space or a river rock. I am marshmallow fluff, pliable, and hurt your teeth sweet. I'm not the delicate bond my mother wanted as a daughter, and she cannot place her hope in my older sisters. None of us fit the mold. We are strange children. We are better than space, although I have trouble imagining what that might be. A universe full of laughter, I suppose. The laughter of strange children. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Killer stuff as always, Lai. Thank you. And that's one of the new Malarkey EPs, correct? Very cool.
Yeah, it was sent out as like a freebie with their book club.
That's right. Such a cool idea. Shout out to Malarkey Books. Malarkey rules. Look at the crowd. Alan, I hope you watch this on YouTube at some point in time. You got a lot of nods there, dude. All right, next up is going to be Lynn Jensen Lampy. Once I get your stuff pulled up here. All right, Lynn, we are ready for you. Take the stage.
Hey, I am so glad to hear all of you because I realized I don't think I've met anybody in this space. So that's very cool to hear some new people's stuff. This first one is from my book Talk Smack to a Hurricane, which is about my mom's severe mental illness, and it came out a few years ago from Ice Flow Press. Fingered. I write poems with hands like hers. Rounded fingertips smudge the page with mental health and mental illness. Blister as power dictates the same old social contract between doctor and patient. Love me, revere me, obey me, I'll say you're healthy. In 1883, the state insane asylum in Jackson, Louisiana, swallowed Emma Caribee, 58. Recorded diagnosis, noisy and troublesome. Viola Wade, 36, deceptive in her affections. Comfort Kemp, 27, homicidal mania due to giving birth. Renamed East Louisiana State Hospital, the asylum admitted Louise, 34, my mother, already tethered in 1968 to the DSM via the fraying rope of schizophrenia and manic depression. bipolar disorder with psychotic features due to giving birth. Being pregnant changed her brain chemistry, she said. I heard, you cause my crazy, never get pregnant. But maybe she was telling me every woman changes after making a child, and she was willing to risk being someone new again. She'd already worn skins named daughter, writer, smoker, grad student, traveler, wife, mother, unmothering, when another family adopted her first child, patient, and now mother again. Juggernaut of emotions and hormones splatter small rooms of the heart chemical red, track years in sulfur and saffron, kitten heels, and paper slippers. Palmistry considers conic fingers a sign of creativity, intuition. Psychiatry considers womanhood a disease. My dad is almost 92 and just broke his hip and had surgery. And in the elderly, general anesthesia can cause temporary delirium. Delirium, daddy. You fractured your hip, and still they want you to dance a finger across the signature pad before you settle into a bed after an ambulance ride that hit every pothole, shifting even your unbroken bones into a new position in the night sky of your body. Ursa Major and Minor Arcana, fool and queen flaunting green hospital gowns, swords drawing blood for yet another test, enough to fill the 8 cups until you spin the wheel of fortune, swallow whatever pills the nurse gives you, pee in a plastic urinal, and watch me rock in a dark room, almost davening and certainly calling to God during the 4th scary thing you've been through since Mama died. The crisis always in February and some years during the Olympics. Figure skaters, alpine skiers, luge forgotten because life becomes one hospital room, one bed, you in that bed, brain addled after anesthesia, delirium tangled blankets, their open weave, unable to muffle your suspicion I'm conspiring against you, who narrows your eyes at me and murmurs, there are things you don't know about. While I fidget, pray, eat cookies, give thanks for my double dose of Wellbutrin, the pill that makes me poet okay, which isn't okay, not really. Me missing dogs and my husband, tired, worried about catching your doctor, caseworker, and physical therapist if I leave to go for coffee, the toilet, a long cry outside. Thanks.
Great stuff, Lynn. Thank you. Hard hitting. Anybody who's ever had a loved one in the hospital. A lot of nodding in the room there. All right. Moving on. It's always hard to move on after some of these, right? Like we kind of want to sit with them for a minute. If I ever do go to AWP, maybe I'll be the guy who stands up and says, like, we're going to take a moment of silence between readers. Just pause. All right. Let's see here. Claire is up next. Claire Wamenholm is joining us tonight. So, Claire, you have the floor.
Oh, hi, thank you. I've never done this. This is my first one because usually I'm at AWP, so this is yay, cool. I know I gave a link to my most recent book, Meltwater, but also what I want to share more is um, the Stand with Minnesota link in case I know Sarah Green is also coming in from Minnesota and the cities. I don't know if anyone else is on this chat and is from here or living here right now. Anyway, it's a lot. We need so much help paying rent. People need a lot of money. And like nobody's helping us but us. It's fucking bonkers. So if you want to like kick some dollars toward rent, there's the link there. Cool. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna read two. I'm gonna read aloud two are ones that I've written, and these are ones that I've written during the occupation, which has been as horrible as you would expect, but also really beautiful in the way that it has let me rediscover human goodness, which I don't think about very often actually, because I'm a curmudgeon, which is its own kind of set of problems. But you're gonna like catch me in a moment of kind of unusual earnestness tonight, which is fun. Um, so I've got two guides here. The first one is called About Suffering, and it's, as you can probably tell, it's in response to Auden's poem, Musée de Beaux-Arts, which I know we all know and which poets are obsessed with, myself included. But I've started to like question my obsession with the poem, like why I find suffering more interesting or more worthy of attention than joy or pleasure or love or goodness or those things. Which isn't, it's not to say suffering isn't central, but it's not more central than those other things. Like it's not the main character. It's not more powerful than those things. And I'm like reminding myself of that. I started to notice it when I looked around at like all the organic, kind of rapid, all in, unquestioning wave of action that rose up here. And I was surprised, which is a terrible thing to feel. Like, don't be surprised that people are good. Wake up, fix your heart, change your life. Anyway, so I'm going to read the original Auden poem, which I know we know, but it's so good. And then mine borrows a lot of language from that one, so I'm going to read mine right after that. So here's Auden's, we know it. About suffering, they were never wrong, the old masters. How well they understood its human position. How it takes place while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. How, when the aged are reverently, passionately waiting for the miraculous birth, there always must be children who did not specially want it to happen, skating on a pond at the edge of the wood. They never forgot that even the dreadful martyrdom must run its course anyhow in a corner, some untidy spot where the dogs go on with their doggy life and their torturer's horse scratches its innocent behind on a tree. In Bruegel's Icarus, for instance, how everything turns away quite leisurely from the disaster. The plowman may have heard the splash, the forsaken cry, but for him it was not an important failure. The sun shone as it had to, on the white legs disappearing into the green water, and the expensive, delicate ship that must have seen something amazing, a boy falling out of the sky, had somewhere to get to, and sailed calmly on. Which is great. That poem bangs, right? And so then I'll do mine one, which is called About Suffering. And toward the end there, it mentions a painting that is in the same room as Landscape with the Fall of Icarus, but it's smaller, it's less well known, and it's a painting of a village wedding. Anyway, about suffering. Fine, it's ordinary. Fine, to ever be surprised is wrong. In this, as in all economies, I have understood that suffering has a time and place, and it's all of them. It is all prepositions, along, against, among, above, across. It isn't waiting for you around every corner, it's the sidewalk. Be serious, grow up. To pretend otherwise means skating by on innocence. But why isn't the sidewalk dogwood petals? Freedom, the smell of rain, relief? If you forgot the world isn't pain, you could be forgiven. Of course, redemption also happens in some untidy spot. Mercy also occurs, or no, someone rides it, horsewise, toward a purpose. It doesn't just happen, a tree growing where its seed was blown. I won't wave away the choice anymore. Today, someone planted a May morning in my chest. Someone said yes. The forsaken cry wasn't. Someone heard and turned. Someone shone their flashlight behind me, and I spun to face the green and red life of a painting whose delight I had seen, but had always written off. Amazing and wrong to say that the sky or love or each other aren't wind enough to push us on. Thank you. And then the second little guy, it's small. It's called Valentine. I wrote it around Valentine's Day this year. It was right in the middle of a really warm spell in Minnesota. It was like 50 degrees out. It was amazing. And we were like, I don't trust this weather, because who would? It's a sonnet and it's for everyone, but it's especially for the school patrollers. A lot of us have been doing volunteer like school patrols. You put on these like very bright high vis neon vests. They've got little hearts on the back of them, and you stand out on like corners by schools and like be prepared to raise the alarm if ice shows up. Valentine. Also a verb, it turns out. Of birds to sing for a mate. It's too early for that, but the cardinals really are going cheer, 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 shooting their liquid arrows through the air as I stand on my corner, aware of the false spring, but not minding, letting myself be valentined by the weather, by the way we together, verb, by the way verb was originally just the word for word, by the way making something happen is, turns out, the ordinary way of things. Our neon vests are boring, identical, and bright enough to be seen from space. We constellate. Be mine, we say, without knowing each other's names. Our hearts on our backs are all shaped the same. That's me. Thank you.
Claire, thank you so much. And thank you for busting out the Auden too as like the setup. That was amazing. And thank you for sharing the Minnesota link. I going all the way back up to the top. I usually start anything I'm hosting with an acknowledgement of the shit show. So my bad for just jumping in. Because I think I'm gonna pause for a second and like shout like I think it's important for us. I mean, we're poets, obviously we do this all the time, to acknowledge the horrors, right? Like that's the value of what we're doing right now has immense value in the face of the horrors, right? So thank you for acknowledging them, for giving us a link. Um, yeah, just thanks for all of it. Thank you all for continuing to write amid the horrors. Like it matters. Fascists hate us. They hate poets and novelists. Like keep going, y'all. Keep going. Um, sorry, I just outed myself on the internet. I don't like fascism. Sorry. Kevin, you're up next. Kevin Risner is up next. My label mate, always happy to see him. Kevin, take it away.
Right, thanks, Mitch. Yeah, it's great to be sharing some work. It's been a while for me. Also exciting. I'll be reading some work from my upcoming book that'll be out in a couple months, actually. So that's really fun. And the link to pre-order just dropped yesterday, which was actually shouldn't have been surprising because my price was at AWP, but um, it just slipped my mind. But yeah, so you should all buy that book well, now or when it comes out, whatever you prefer, or if you're able. But I'm going to read a couple poems from it tonight. Trying to figure out which ones would be best. I'm going to do this one first. The title is Blood Buzz, which was inspired by the song by The National, as well as the shit show uh, that we find ourselves in. But all right, Blood Buzz. You know, there's no space left for me on this planet. I'm sitting cross-legged for the zillionth time. In my scotch-clogged brain, I can zipper my lips, foist the ear trumpet against the wall to enjoy the symphony. Patience, Locust. It'll all even out after the bombs have dropped. It's no earthquake, it's no picnic. Here we have the same bastards we voted in again, who will fan the flames as I fan my face in blistering July. The next month always comes so fast. Next poem is titled The Conch Republic. I don't know if anyone's heard of that before, but it's a group of snowbirds who are, um, I guess it's Key West and that whole area. So um, I saw a flag when I was on the Jersey Shore one year with that name, and I'm like, I need to find out more about this. But anyway, that's the title of this poem. Members of this group of snowbirds in Key West burn a hurricane warning flag at the end of the season, both a symbolic sigh of relief and in memory of the lost, of the damage this year wrought. If I make another map, what would be included? I draw another landform, another island in the shape of a seashell. I press my ear against the paper to hear the swirl of the ocean, to catch next year's forecast. I may have bit off more than I can chew. Here we thought the 1990s was a time of completely indisputable innocence. A month after we left Florida, Hurricane Andrew ate away the lower half of the state. I've taken a deep breath in December and have contracted an unknown virus. Now celebration is a morning that doesn't involve phlegm or chest coughs or lozenges. I've kept everyone safe. Now what? The knowledge that I can try my best, and I might still fail. And I'll do one more quickly that's a little bit more uplifting than the other two. Um, the title is We're Humming Al Green Songs as We Get Ready for Bed. During one opening note, we sigh and exhale. After our first dance back in 2015, Let's Stay Together invited others to join us on the wood-paneled floor. Swerve, lean, circle around, croon. Now you peer at me through the mirror as you brush your teeth. I lie in bed, playing at reading. A casual reflection on middle-aged habits in the time of COVID. We never thought it would ever happen. There would be a smudge of red skies, wind, asphalt summers, plum trees dropping fruit throughout my grandmother's backyard. You know, as a kid, I mowed around those plums every week, ate Whopper Juniors with her when I was finished. That 1998 heat was so oppressive, like books stacked on top of one another. Mary, as soon as you can, let's melt this summer. Form into something magnetic and bright. You'll always be my greatest dream. Thank you.
You were right, man. That was, oh, there we go. You were right. That was a very sweet one to end on. A little tonal switcheroo there. Thank you, Kevin. Those are fantastic. And congrats on the pre-order link being live. Congrats on the book. All right. Next up, we have Thad Devassi. Sorry, I mispronounced it there. Take it away, Thad. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for having me back. This is the point in the reading where we're just gonna lower the bar. I'm gonna take it off, actually set it on the ground. All these readings have been really great. I write in sort of the absurdist perspective, sort of Russell Edson meets James Tate at a bar kind of stuff. So at least you'll get a sense of where we're going here. So I'm going to start with this piece called Sheepskin Deed. I couldn't sign it. I couldn't stop thinking about the rest of the sheep. The deed, dated to Andrew Jackson's era, seemed far too extravagant and fragile, given the wife and I were only acquiring a small outbuilding poorly positioned on barren land, itself smelling like sheep in the hefty sight of plural. Kirk was shearing Linda's head at the other end of the table, cackling. It was an odd spectacle unfolding in the title agency's boardroom. To be clear, Linda was not a sheep. Our deeds woman whispered she was someone on the far fringes of the real estate business. Kirk was careful to avoid hair clippings falling onto the vegan charcuterie board set out for this extraordinary occasion, which was just an assortment of nuts and water crackers. But everyone enjoyed saying charcuterie. Nobody was certain if the extraordinary occasion was in reference to our deed signing or Linda's hair. Kirk brought attention to Linda's buttery bald dome in the hue of sheep's milk, and how someone had signed her thin-skinned skull months ago, before her auburn hair grew back in shades of silver. It said, Craig was here, in a flowing, flowery penmanship that would fail to conjure up a Craig at all. This felt intrusive. So I didn't know Kirk or Linda or Craig. But we all were aligned in our collective surprise that a blue Sharpie was the pen of choice. This next piece appeared not long ago in the publication Had, and it's called Party Favors. I snuck into a party where I was not invited. The host didn't recognize me from a long list of non-invitees and handed me a doorknob as a party favor. There was a tree in the living room, a real live deciduous monster with floorboards carefully carved around the base of its trunk. People were eating its fruit. It was raining in the guest bedroom, yet somehow partygoers remained unwet. the exact opposite of what was transpiring in an overcrowded bathroom. By the fireplace, I saw you petting a jaguar that yawned as if it were a lion, trying to coax my head inside it for applause. I heard people talking about the jaguar, but all I could focus on was how some people were calling it a jaguar, while others said jaguar, and how we come to conclusions about people and their diction. It wasn't quite love at first sight, but at the same time, I could see you, the woman petting the yawning jaguar, as my wife spreading jam on toast in our future kitchen. I would have easily stuck my head inside that jaguar for your applause, for your immediate infatuation of my bravery. But I'm going to be honest, the music was off. There was an old Laura Branigan song playing, and this wasn't a Laura Branigan crowd, and it killed the mood. So I did the next obvious thing. I walked toward you with aforementioned bravery, put the doorknob in the jaguar's mouth and turned it, walked right through the beast as if it were a secret door to a new dimension, and exited the party. I looked back and saw your eyeball peeping me through a keyhole below the doorknob. I can't recall if it was you or me flashing a finger with a ring on it, but we were both standing on opposite ends of an identical kitchen. You petting the jaguar you named Gloria at the after party. I woke up without a soundtrack in my head or a doorknob in my hand. I noticed our hands clasped together and slightly bloodied from a jaguar at the foot of the bed, pawing at us, demanding to be pet. Um, Mitch said something that I thought was just really, really, I don't know, poignant. And just the heaviness of a lot of things that are going on. I wrote this really, really small poem, so I'm going to keep this really quick. This is called Serenade, and it's not so surreal and absurd. The crickets help us rejoice in knowing there will never be a plague too heavy, a war insurmountable. How could there be with all that singing in the darkest of dark? Thank you.
Hot damn, man. How dare you lead that off with like, oh no, everybody else is good. No, get out of here. That was great. Thank you. What a sweet short one to end on. Oh my God. Whew. I'm gonna keep the act moving here though. Again, it at the open mic. I think it was Brian, somebody said in the comments, like if you ever get to go to AWP, go to one of these things, instead of a moment of silence, everybody has to go in the alley to cry for a minute. Like, oh, yeah, yeah. We should really do poets. We should probably build in time for that. Like a moment for everybody to get in their feels, you know. Courtney Brambrick is up next, but I don't think Courtney is in the room. Courtney, am I missing you? Are you out there? Which is a bummer because I'm pretty sure Courtney has been a NAWPer before. Well, let's hope Courtney is actually in Baltimore and just got hung up at like a cool crab-based thematic reading. Baltimore is sweet. If you've never been to Baltimore, I do recommend. I did. So most of my conference life has been for high school English teaching, and I have been there for the National Council of Teachers of English, and Baltimore is a very cool town. All right, next up, Jennifer Wortman, who I also don't think I've seen in the room. Jennifer, is Jennifer here? Whoever joined late and said, is there room for me? Yes, there is. David's definitely here. I've seen David. Where are you? David Rosenthal, you are up next, my man. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting this. Thanks, everybody. I've never been to NAWP, so I'm a NAWP noob. And I've also never been to AWP. Not sure if I ever gonna be able to, but I'm gonna try to squeeze in three little poems here for you. The first one is called Elegy for Walter. He was a huge bearded house of a man. If you just saw his beard, you might think plaid, denim, old work boots, maybe a can of cheap domestic beer, but that was Dad much more than him. He had what Mother called an old doe's eyes, though it was never clear exactly what she meant. They say he crawled till he was 2, then took another year to talk. He still don't talk much now, they joke. They found him in the gorge by Parsons Oak. There wasn't anyone who really thought he jumped, but no one saw what happened. So a mystery became the family plot. An Eagle Rock, a place you shouldn't go. This poem is called Flag on a Hillside. It's about a flag on a hillside. It's based on a true story. The valley had been greened by rains and goldened with the woven hue of blooms along the rolling plains that rambled coastward out of view. We turned into a canyon, past the ridge, down toward the river's mouth, where rocks outcropped above the last low fields. Behind us, to the south. And there it was. It made me sad, and made me angry to be sad. Whatever motive someone had to put it there, I didn't care. I only knew it marred the wind with inorganic shapes, and where the spike to which the thing was pinned impaled the land, the slope was bare. And then this last one, this is this was I'm a teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher, and I used to write quite a few teacher poems, but it's been a long time since I've written them. And one now that retirement is starting to be on my horizon, um, I was inspired to write a different kind of teacher poem than I used to write. This was in Porcupine Literary a few months ago. It's called Miss Marjorie's Last Day. She walked slowly and smiled an easy smile, the smile her new neighbors would come to know her by. She had her students color while she packed some things and let the minutes go. She shirked recess duty to take a bunch of boxes to the car and took her time enjoying something nice she'd made for lunch, alone, inside her room, door locked. Sublime quiet and solitude for just one day out of 5,000 plus. It made her late to pick her class up from the yard. The way she let them play and talk and made them wait for her as she stood watching from the door felt like something she'd never done before. That's it. Thanks.
David, I love it. And I shout out, I am also theoretically an under 5 year count period here on the K-12 career. I'm like options. I'm not saying I'm out the second I can, but you have options like Miss Marjorie. All right. Next up, Sarah Green. You are up next. Thank you for joining us tonight. The floor is yours.
Thanks so much. I also have never been to NAWP, NOP, and it's so nice to not be AWP, first of all, but it's so nice to be not there with you. I am in this like very sterile guest apartment with like horrible lighting, but I had flowers and I was like, I'll make ambiance for my Zoom reading with these flowers. So I'm in Ohio, but I actually live in Minnesota where I am basically Claire's neighbor, and it's funny to be Zoom reading with her and be so far apart. So I stand with Minnesota, and I'm going to read a poem that I literally wrote after walking with Claire a couple years ago. It's a spring poem, and then I have some things to say about Ukraine. All right. This poem is called Matter. It's from my book that came out last year with Akron, The Deletions. It's the first poem in the book. Matter. Today I touched lilacs as if I was saying, wait, with my fingers, tugging a shirt so the person inhabiting it would turn to me. I don't know who I was pulling back from the other world. Maybe my friend who died, the one I dreamed, walked past the line of torches on the beach, marking that property from this, past a sign he did not care about. It was only for me. Maybe I touched him, but I don't believe we become everything. He's not the same as the flower. He is somewhere, and I'm grateful that I don't understand because it means I'm still alive, stupid, partial, desiring specific ways of feeling good, crying on the couch because it's light so late and the birds won't stop singing. It's light, and it doesn't matter what I want. And then I'm going to go back to my ancient one. I'm currently in the home of my PhD alma mater, Athens, Ohio, where I developed this book, Earth Science. And it's kind of nice to be in the space. I have a spring poem in this book, and it's feeling really springy here today in Southeast Ohio. And it feels good to touch the past spring through this poem in this space, if that makes sense. Makes sense to poets, right? um, this poem is called Pastels, and it's really short. Pastels. I don't know this morning, with its glissandos at rest in sheet music of small children, still unfamiliar chateaus tucked in the blind spots of its fat hillsides. Spring seems predictable as an anthem. Trees, flowers, bees, timed fireworks. Dawn's parade float of quilted clouds. One barely has to look at it. Why can I barely look at it? Thank you. Aw, I'm just seeing my neighbor friend's comment. It's very touching. And then I think I'm not going back, but I think, thank you, NAWP. I think you put in two links. And the link that's not to my book is to a significant, I think, fundraiser literary reading and fundraiser that I'm hosting on March 21st with five incredible readers. Ilya Kaminsky is one. It's Kiese Lehman, Calvé Akbar, Balgina Mort, Carolyn Forche. It's donation based. It's pay what you can. And all the money, literally 100% of it goes to youth poetry workshops in Odessa in Ukraine. Kiddos that meet, they've been meeting for 3 years when their parents let them go outside because it's safe enough. And they meet in a bomb shelter. And this is going to be their third season. It will start later in March. When the sort of electricity and heat are kicking in. And so I thought I would read as my last poem a I'm just honored to help. I don't know, I haven't been able to like work with this organization before. I know it through Ilya. But I thought I'd read a 14-year-old girl's poem, Marina is her name, from that poetry workshop as my last poem. So it's called I don't see, it looks like the title is in a language that I don't speak, but it's the rest of it's in English, so I'll read that part. I think it looks like it might say Good Afternoon, Sister as the title. Good afternoon, sister. How is it in heaven? Quiet, yes, without fear and night. We're in the basement talking of you, sister. Explosions again and again. Mother whispers, thunder. Mom insists, thunderstorm. But see, the war stares at us. I can still see the men with guns, your thin figure, mother's shouts, and my soul zigzags to heaven. Next to God, it is calm, and no one tortures us, sister. Only your doll is awkward without you. Many dolls without children live here. Here in this country, many awkward dolls, cars, Bears in tattered jackets, dresses, pants. We remember you. We are without you here in Ukraine. Thank you. Oops.
Sarah, thank you for your whole reading, but man, what a powerful idea to include that student's voice. Thank you so much for including that. And thanks for hosting that reading too. What a great idea. That link's in. I put that link in there twice. So you guys can follow or find that link and then follow where it leads you. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we have Sarah Eliza Johnson. Sarah, thanks for joining us tonight. Another, I believe, NAWP newbie to my
Yep,
knowledge. So thank you. Take it away.
very new. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was an amazing reading. I have been to every AWP since 2008 in New York City, except one. So this is my first, yeah, this is my first time here. Um, I'm going to read three prose poems, all from a manuscript in progress titled Translogic. Morning. Before you go looking, just remember, from some places you can't truly come back. Some places are the long dead valley of an unending seizure, debone you, bend you all the way around, like this snake that eats itself while you're inside. At the moment of contact, you feel everything that others are spared. Your hands become stellar remnants. Your voice splits into two voices overlapping. The primordial hums from the beginning and the end. If you do find your way out of there, return to the place you'd called home. You can't even hold a spoon. A noise like fruit flies wasps in and out of your skull when you try to think. You pass only strangers without faces. Touch your own face and feel no skin, even though a camera still finds your features. They ask why you no longer smile, as if your mouth remains. One day I woke from that place in a bathtub, shaking, as if just born in a factory, with no memory of past or future. I am the wound uncared for so long, you can no longer feel the pain of it. This must be why there is always blood in the water, even though I did not cut myself in this world. Afterlife. At the end of the memory, you forgot to close the door. You hear the neighborhood children playing a hide and go seek outside in the yard, calling, come out, as if still looking for you. But where are you now? Is this your house? Did you place the cherries on the counter? Is that blood or their juice staining your lip? Is it a pit or panic clenched inside your throat? One fall afternoon, many years ago, you knelt under the porch, holding your one little breath, leaves and dirt, weaving a loose crown in your hair, as you stayed so still, so scared, trying so hard to be quiet as he searched for you, your heart beating itself out when his shoes stopped there in front of you, and he bent his knees to look. Now it has begun to rain inside the house, but no cloud can hide you. who shakes like lightning inside anything that holds it. You shake and shake. The shower's too cold, and you can't get warm. Can't remember if you were ever warm. Can't figure out how someone can still be alive if they were never found. And the last one, you asked me about my scars. Did you know a bone breaks through skin with a tender music, like a whistle calling a dog inside? I've studied all species of pain, the shining lesion a word makes when spoken, the anatomy of a muffled cry as it crawls from a bedroom down a hall. I've calculated the axis of the tongue as it rolls back before vomiting, kept still enough to feel my own bruises shift colors from black to purple to yellow. Asleep in bed, my body squirms in sync with the worms in fresh graves. In the sunlight, I curl like a spider sprayed with vinegar, blood touched by one drop of venom. Once, in a vision, I shot myself in the face, and now I keep a bullet in my pocket so I can remember that peculiar feeling inside my eye socket. Haven't you punished yourself enough, you ask? You ask if I want to suffer. The root of pain is poiana, which means penalty. That's as close as I've come to understanding. More than anything, I want someone to hold my hand and lie to me. That's all. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you so much. Those were amazing. Like the comments, Sarah. Yeah, like
Thank
that's
you.
powerful, powerful stuff. Um, in the name of keeping the act moving, though, like I'm a little bummed because Andrew Collard is a fellow Michigander, but I do not see him in the room. Andrew, am I missing anything? Is anybody see
I'll
Andrew
text him
Collard out
real
there?
quick. I know him. I'll text him.
I wonder if
Yeah,
he's watching the
he's got a new
basketball
book
game.
coming.
Maybe he's watching the game.
He does love a game.
We're, we're not talking. My phone is blowing up, Kevin. I'm going out of my way to ignore my phone. I don't want to know. If my phone's blowing up, it's either great or terrible. It's not anything in between. Likewise, Marilyn A. Johnson was next up in the list, and I don't think Marilyn's in the room either. So, Steven, get ready. You might be next. Anybody see Marilyn either? Miss anything? Don't check your phone. I'm not. It's just it's like it's on. It's like you can see like it flashes. I've got it like silenced or whatever. Like it's not even on vibrate, but it's like you can see it like whoop whoop. All right, Stephen, Energia, Gifford Bell. Do you mind stepping up? The two ahead of you are not in the room, so you would be up next. All
I
right,
don't mind.
there we go.
Awesome. Is my audio coming through all right? I normally have headphones, but I can't find them right now. Or but no, normally I have a mic. All right, here we go. Wait, am I off mute? Sorry. Zoom problems. Okay, awesome. Great. All right. First, I just want to give credit to Diesel Carson, whose workshop is the main reason this poem came out. Every person who ever had a child has brought at least one death into the world. I am a short Amtrak away from my mom, standing outside Dinkle's days before Norm Dinkle Jr. switches the oven red letters on, then off, one final time. I'm standing on the sidewalk, in a line lolling out the entrance. This is my second of what I had hoped would be many trips to this pink trim treasury. My mom had given me free rein with her cash, counseled, I don't know how much remains, and I don't know how much room you have in your luggage, but really, get whatever you can. I text back, the more I get, the more I might later miss. Weighing the Stalin I've never tried against the Berliner that nearly made me cry in a car, like two extinct birds. One you've heard of, one you've heard warbling above your head. Don't let that argument win, she insists. Every person who ever had a child has brought at least one death into the world. I've almost reached the door. I think about it sometimes, she elaborates, that I am responsible for your death. Families carry fresh baked heirlooms away. But I haven't ever regretted that I brought you into the world. Not once. I am entering the belly of the bakery, fingers clawing for a reason to get fewer treats. My mom would love butter cookies, a Danish, anything fudgy. A little heavy for pastries, she concludes, but the logic applies. Ahead of me, customers greet Dinkle, shake a last time, maybe a first. Regulars share stories like old friends. It really is grief that's eating me, and guilt. I smile at the lawyer turned reluctant baker, say something deferent and generic. I wish I had a better offering. Young as I am, I felt the weight of last. I've forgotten my wants for the family's needs. God, I can't admit this to her. It's not that I want less to miss. Or maybe I do, but that's still me reaching for a reason. I don't want to bring her death closer to the world. I am at the display cases, ordering what will soon go extinct. Of course I relented, the way I have for years. Maybe I worry I doomed her before I was born, but diabetes be damned. How couldn't I want to give my mom what she loves? I get the butter cookies, a whole pink box to tuck into my luggage. What I won't know for a couple more years is it won't be the sugar that kills her, or not that anyone could prove. Her main poison will come for the lungs, but not yet. Now I am riding an Amtrak. Now Dingle is hitting the lights. Now I am handing her the cookies, and she is brushing the back of my hand. Now we are eating. Now living, bite by fleeting, immaculate bite. And God, if it isn't, so good. Thank you.
Damn, is that it? We got another one here. Steven, that was amazing. I I'm not like a big foodie, but that was like the best food description I think I've ever heard. Right? All right. Let me reset here. All right. So up next then is Tina Gross. Tina, floor is yours.
Hey, is my volume okay? Awesome. Okay, I'm also a newbie, a first timer. Um, so I'm just gonna read one poem because it's a little bit on the long side. And it is a conference poem. It actually is in the form of a PowerPoint and has bulleted lists in it. Which you won't be able to see, but um, and I am a librarian for a living, and so this is it's primarily about library conferences, which I have attended hundreds of, I feel. Although I mean I think much of it applies to AWP too, or any conference. Okay, so this is called Conference Apocalypse. I'd like to welcome everyone to the last session of the last day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around until the end. We're probably all going to die right here, unless the robin incorporates the string from an interdepartmental envelope into her nest. The convention center floor mosaic of a snake starts giving out business cards. The moss, algae, and lichen stick to the advertised speaking order. The hotel bills slipped under our doors overnight include charges for a geomagnetic storm because the house spider that got the last ice water out of the Cambro by tilting it forward, the kelp forest that struggles with imposter syndrome forgot to take notes, termite nymphs huddling under a big landscape boulder couldn't find coffee without an hour-long line. This panel discussion will be adjourned by an asteroid impact and/or gray goo, even if leopard slugs thronging to the warmth of the CPU manage to publish and not perish. Guinea fowl recruited to eat wood ticks can connect the laptop to the projector. The patina on the building's bronze cladding can discreetly free a chair from the ganging brackets that lock them in a row. It's pointless to duck and cover when we'll all be in the crater, keeping in mind that cochineals nesting on a cactus should use the microphone even though they think they're loud enough without it. Microbes breaking down compost can explain why the conference scheduler app doesn't sync with the website. The ladybug trying to eat aphids without interference from ants has included a complete bibliography. This is more of a comment than a question. Is it appropriate to hug in this situation? This meeting is not going to hold itself. Thanks.
The comments just exploded with you absolutely captured conference life. Like I said, you mentioned librarians. I mostly went to English teacher conferences, and yeah, that was it. You got it. All right. Carla, we have
Well,
arrived
it's getting
at panel
late, so
6.
I'm just going to read two tiny poems. The first is from my latest chapbook, Any Excuse for a Party, which is all funny, sad poems. This one is called Hearing Mahler 5. Too long, you said of Mahler, the lone taste we didn't share. Proof that I am separate, apart from the empty chair. But one life's never enough. And the next, I could show you my way of hearing Mahler. You'd come around, I know you. And this next short poem was one of my New Year's resolution to publish a poem about being happy. So I find 1,000 words for happy. The feeling of lostness, 2 or 3 streets from home. The sweetness of doing nothing all Sunday. Outside, a car radio playing, oh, mercy, mercy me. Reading an old mystery with light streaming through blue pines and freshly washed curtains, and you upstairs under the white quilt. Thank you.
What a lovely image to end on. Thank you, Carla. All right. Deanna Beachley is up next.
All right, thank you, everyone. I've got 2 poems here. The first one will be released sometime in April, I think. And it is dedicated to all of the national monuments, which are under threat by Utah politicians at the national level. So this is my shout out for anybody to take action to contact your members of Congress to urge them to vote no on resolutions to overturn the monument plan for Grand Staircase and Escalante National Monument. But this is for my national monument that's not far from me, Ave Kwame. York fire remnants with a line from Alec Finley. On a wide trail, I walk up an incline, steady but gradual, walking towards sight. Stop to look at rocks, spot the bird whose song lilted, admire the zebra-tailed lizard who posed for a photo, watch the half moon sink toward the hills, bask in the sheen of desert marigolds, lines of desert green, sage and olive, lines of vegetation charcoaled by the fire 2 years ago. A California juniper split in two, barrel cacti collapsed, spines still visible, cooked by flames. Next to those, the blaze passed by, as if fire sees a future. So this was inspired by a workshop that I took with Kim Stafford. Why I became an earth dweller after Kim Stafford. Because I picked dandelions at age 3 and gave them to my grandmother. Because I helped her gather eggs. Because I always had acorns and maple helicopters in my pockets. Because I stood near bison when I was 4. Because of the sweet scent of sacred datura. Because of the roar of Colorado River rapids after the hike down the canyon. Because the gray purple hair streak only shows its glory in flight. Because of river smoothed pebbles. Because roadrunners always make me laugh. Because the willow tree on the bank was the perfect swing. Because Vivian and I stilled when we saw a long meteor streak by. Because a baby bear licked my face at an animal sanctuary in Montana. Because a raven kept me company as I hiked out of the Grand Canyon alone, my companions long ahead of me. Because I always had a nature altar in my bedroom. Because the earth is folded and pressed and still goes on. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was just gonna say beautiful, and I looked in the comments. It says beautiful. Real quick, that is the end of our list, and we had some other people in the room, and the signups didn't go smoothly for everyone. So, is there anybody else in the room who is hoping to read who has not read yet? All right. Well, then I will take us home with one last one, and this will be the end of the night, folks. Try to end on a happy note. All right, guys, I'm Mitch Nobis. Thanks for being here. This is Bourbon in a Santa Mug. This was published on Head a year and a half ago. I don't know, around Christmas time on Head. Bourbon in a Santa Mug. One time, when the kids were smaller, we came home early from a New Year's party at our friend's place because the boys were too little to stay up late. And in those days, C often fell asleep next to whichever boy she was on that night. Me, I'd stay upright, sing a lullaby. Bill Withers was a good go-to. Then sneak out on tiptoes, avoiding creaky floorboards once they snored. And so I found myself alone in the soft green reading chair. Cold outside, dark like the inside of a worn blanket you found in the closet one time when you realized you were old enough to just go find an extra blanket when you were cold. When you were big enough to not call your mom and just find a blanket, and it was dark and it was warm. And I sat in the reading chair that night, a light snow through the window, and I'd poured 2 fingers of bourbon into a Santa mug. And I put on being there. And I swear to you, I swear it timed out perfectly that right as the clock finally struck midnight, and I mean right as the clock struck midnight, I got you at the end of the century, hit that climax crash after the fake ending, and I knew I'd be up in another 2 hours to settle a crying kid and to fret again. But then, at that moment, I had you and you, 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 and you had me too. Shout out to the comments. Yeah, so I should have let in with this reference as a Wilco Elberman song, in case you don't know Wilco. I just thought that might be a nice one to end on for such a nice night of community, even though we're all locked in whatever rooms we're in out there in Michigan, Minnesota, wherever we all are. Thank you all for joining us. That has been the NAWP Open Mic for 2026. I agree, Deanna. Poetry communities are the best. Thank you all for being here. We will probably do it again next year.
Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Lovely
all
poems,
so
everyone.
much.
Yes,
Take
ditto.
Thank
care.
you.
Great readings,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks, Mitch.
Bye. Follow Emergency Poems on Instagram. Bye.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everyone.
Of course. Thank you all. Oops.